time, BBC One Northern Ireland appealing for your help. It's Crimewatch.
Down on the floor!
Armed robbery, hostage-taking and kidnap.
I thought that evening I was dead. I was definitely going to get shot one way or the other.
All in a night's work for the gang who terrorised a family in their own home. Tonight, can you tell us where they call home?
Hello and welcome to Crimewatch. Another child murdered, another family in agony. But maybe dozens of people watching this programme right now have got the answer. Also tonight, a bizarre case. 80-year-old Leslie Ince was stabbed in the neck with a skewer, then left for dead in a cupboard for days.
Join our manhunt. We know who they are. Do you know where they are?
Last month, if you recall, we pleaded for help to find the killers of Michael De Sumo, the South London schoolboy who was killed, actually machine-gunned in his bed as he lay there sleeping. His sister Shakira was describing the harrowing moment that she found her brother dying. Well, our appeal generated some pretty good leads, which the police are now following up. But, sadly, tonight we need your help on another senseless murder of a boy. Just like Michael, Adam Regis wasn't in a gang. Just like Michael, Adam never got into trouble. He had a sparkling future ahead of him. His mum can't see any future now. Adam was stabbed a fortnight ago, and apparently for no reason at all. Detective Constable Ralph Wilding's been to Plaistow in East London to retrace Adam's last walk home.
Yeah, I'm walking now, babes. I'm in Plaistow.
I used to always say to him, Adam, please be careful. It was only the second time I let Adam go out on his own. My memory of my son is him being scared, because he would have been scared.
Adam never made it home that night. He was stabbed to death. He died here, alone. He was just 15 years old.
They destroyed my life. My house is so quiet without him. It's so empty. It's so empty without him.
He was always there when I needed him. He had a lovely smile, always happy. Just a really nice boy.
Before he left, he came up to me, gave me a kiss on my forehead. Love you. I'll be home at 7. I'll be home at 7.
The reason he didn't get back by 7 was because he was making sure his friends got back safely first.
You don't have to walk me home, you know, man. My house is only over there.
I'll walk you home. Let's
go to the bus stop.
Let's go.
All right, man.
This is Adam and his best mate on Green Street, 20 minutes before he was murdered.
Today's been good, you know.
Hey, wait, we should do it again.
We have to do it again, man. There's no doubt about it, you know what I mean? Anyway,
We see that.
And this is where the friends split up on the corner of Tunmarsh Lane and Kingsland Road. Adam set off alone about 9:30. It was to be his last journey. 2 guys in hoodies were seen going up the same road at the same time. Were they Adam's killers?
He rang me about 9:30 and said he was okay, he was on his way home.
the film was heavy today, innit?
But you've seen it 7 times.
Yeah, because I love that film.
I'm going to get it when it comes out on DVD.
He made this noise, as if like... I tried to ring him back, but I couldn't get no answer.
The knife was so large it went in through his arm, into his chest here, and pierced his heart. He didn't stand a chance.
2 doctors came in. He said to me, so sorry. And we was unable to save him. And I don't want sorry. I just want him back. I just want him back.
I'm just taking each day as it comes. I've got to do what he would have wanted me to do.
If these people can do this to my son, they can do it to anyone.
And what a boy to do it to. He was such a nice kid, Adam. Everybody says so. DCI Matthew Horn is now trying to find who did it and why did it. And you don't meet a nicer kid than Adam by all accounts.
No, he was a lovely boy, Nick. Superb academic prospects and just a fantastic lad.
No enemies and no argument, because his girlfriend would have heard on the phone if he was having an argument. I mean, obviously this could have been premeditated. It could have been just a vindictive murder. I know that there is word on the street that maybe it was very different, that maybe it was a dare, maybe it was some sort of initiation ceremony. Somebody just was told to go and stab someone, and it just went too far.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the line of inquiry, if that's the case, and that's somebody that needs to come and speak to me.
In that case, there could be a kid who's watching Crimewatch tonight who's absolutely petrified and appalled at what he's done. He didn't mean to kill him.
It's possible, and that person does need to speak to me.
The knife, I mean, it was a very, very big knife. Might not have been his, he might have been handed it, we don't know. But it was, this sort of size of a blade, so the knife itself would have been very difficult to conceal.
Yeah, we're looking at something probably in the region of about 20 centimetres long, the cutting edge. It could have been significantly longer than that.
Could have been a sword even, could it?
It could be. It could be certainly something that would have been very difficult for somebody to conceal.
If the boy himself doesn't ring, and actually, you know, there's a real possibility he will, if he really didn't mean to kill Adam. But so many others will know. I suggested at the beginning that maybe dozens, because this isn't some tight conspiracy. This will have spread like wildfire through all the kids in the area of Plastow.
Yeah, I hope so. And the appeal is really for those children to speak to their teachers, to speak to their dedicated schools liaison officers, or even to ring Crime Stoppers. The
schools have been fantastic here. The real cooperation from the teachers, from a lot of the kids already.
Yeah,
but actually, there are kids out there who know who did this who haven't yet come forward.
That's right.
That's what they've got to do.
They have to come forward.
If you call us here, incidentally, the phones here are not traced. You can call us and you can be anonymous, whatever. Just please, please call. And incidentally, those two guys, we saw the two lads, they were wearing hoods.
Yes.
Other side of the road, either fantastic witnesses or they were involved.
And that's right, they are either witnesses, or I do believe they could be involved. Were they on their own, or were they part of a larger group?
Okay, give Adam's mum and his family some peace, please. Pick up the phone if you know anything at all. The number here is 0500 600 600, and you'll find details on our website, bbc.co.uk/crimewatch. Or you can call Crime Stoppers. Their number is 0800 555 111.
Kidnap and hostage taking. No, not talking the Middle East, we're talking Essex last July, when one family, mum, dad, the 12-year-old daughter and toddler, were subjected to a night of terror that will haunt them for years.
Turn that telly off. You need your sleep, darling.
1 minute, it's nearly here.
Who's that keeps driving past?
I don't know. You can't exactly get lost up here, can you?
There's a big car out there, Jimmy.
It's got to be for you. No one ever calls for me.
Police. Get in there.
I opened the door. I genuinely thought there was 3 police officers there. They were just dressed up as police officers, and the guns in their hand. I just thought it wasn't for me, it was for something else.
Get in there! Get in there! Down on the floor!
As they was pushing me back into the lounge, one said, "I've got a silencer on this gun." He said, "No one will know, I'll shoot you." And then I realised they wasn't 3 police officers. They was here for something different.
Oh, bastard. Now, tell me where the safe is and we're gone.
Oh, it's okay, I'm police. We're just searching for something.
What's going on? What are you doing?
Right in there.
Well, I've got another little one in there. I want to be with him.
Okay, both of you in there. Move it. Go on.
Your natural reaction is to look after your children, and knew if I was in the same room as both of them, I knew what was happening with both of them.
Well, I just thought like they wanted to come in and speak to us because something might have happened outside.
Tell me where it is.
There isn't. I don't have a safe.
Look, we're not mucking about here. You know what this can do, don't you?
These are my 2 children. Do you think I've put them through this for a bit of money?
I don't believe you.
Sorry, darling.
And stop looking at me.
When he had the gun pointing it at Sophie and Jordan, it was just the most terrifying moment of my life, really, because I would not have put it past him to pull the trigger.
No! 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 You're gonna get this. Now tell me where the money is. Oh, no, no. Tell me where the money is. There is no money. Shut it, you bastard. Just tell me where the safe is, and it's done. There ain't a safe. Look, I've got a timber yard. There's no money here.
I initially thought they was going to shoot me. The kids kept threatening me, and with a gun, they kept sticking it in my mouth, kept saying, "You're dead."
Pack it in. You're a nutter.
The pain, it just kept hitting me and hitting me. And once you've been hit 5 or 6 times in the same spot, you just become numb. And the blood, it was everywhere. It went right through the carpets, everything.
Look at him. See what we've been doing to him? Jack, just tell them the truth. Tell them whatever they want to know.
I've been telling them, Jimmy, the only safe is at the yard.
The money? How much?
I don't know. We don't talk about it. 20 grand, maybe?
That's nowhere near enough. It's got to be more than that. Leave it out, mate. What are you doing?
Right, you back upstairs with the kids. Come on. Move.
I know I went unconscious a couple of times, but it was at least in the house for an hour and a half. There was no panic. There wasn't rushing to get out nowhere.
Right. We're going to call someone to sit with you. We're taking Jimmy down to the yard.
But please don't leave us with that mad guy. He'll kill us.
No. We know what he's like. Don't worry about him. We're going to give him a good kicking when we get back.
Just wanted this mad one really out of my house. That's all I was really worried about now at this time. I was so worried he was going to come back up and hurt the children.
About time. Right, where do you want me? Right, upstairs, yeah? Okay. Take this. And don't forget, wait for our call, yeah? Right, okay.
Come on.
Right, I'm in charge now. You stay right with... Are you kidding me? Kids? You got kids in here?
Please, can you put the gun away? It's really scaring my Sophie.
Yeah, sorry.
He was talking quite nicely and calmly to us. He wasn't threatening in any way at all. My concern turned to Jimmy. The last state I'd seen him in, to me, looked practically dead anyway.
They knew exactly where they was going. They didn't ask me for directions or anything. All they kept doing is the fellow who was sitting on top of me just kept kicking me every now and again.
Right, Jimbo. What key opens what? Get in there. Come on.
Where's the safe, Jimmy?
It's up in the office, up the stairs.
I'm sorry about this. I really am. I've got kids of my own.
Get in there. Where's the safe? It's here. It's here. It's down there. Right.
I like your tattoo.
Well, this?
Yeah. What does it mean?
Yeah, it means behave, actually.
Just give me... Let me do it. Nothing stupid.
And obviously I knew Jackie and the kids was back at the house with some nutter worrying about what he's going to do to them. Just wanted to get this over and done with.
Nice one, Jimbo.
Hello? Yep. What's going on?
What do they want?
They're 5 minutes away. Look, they want me to tie you up.
If you don't tie us up, I won't do anything for 10 minutes. I promise. I'll let you get away.
Okay.
Really.
All right. Well, let's get you in the other room. Come on.
Now that was nice and easy, wasn't it?
I really can't understand why the violence was so intense. There was no need for it. After I was sort of cuffed up and taped up, I couldn't have done anything anyway.
Never in your life do you think your children are going to be killed in front of you, never. That night was so normal. I'm sitting reading him a story and an hour later there's suddenly people in your house with guns. You just don't take nothing for granted anymore.
I really feel lucky to be alive. I thought that evening I was dead. I was definitely going to get shot one way or the other.
Well, there's one blessing, which is Jackie's 4-year-old slept throughout the whole thing, never woke up despite everything that was going on around him. I mean, Gary, whoever did this obviously knew Jimmy, they knew where he lived, they knew about his business, they knew how to get there, they knew there might be money there.
Yeah.
And one person in the gang particularly stood out, and that was one who was really violent.
Yeah, unnecessarily so. I mean, the degree of violence he used that evening was totally uncalled for. So much so that the other gang members actually tried to restrain him throughout. And the perception gained by the victims that evening was that, in fact, he was on drugs and slightly high. He was a white male, about 5'10", and he's described as having very piercing eyes, dark eyes.
And it may be that if this is the kind of behaviour he showed then, that this spills out into his everyday life, people might notice him. You think he's local, don't you?
We do think he's
To
local.
the
The
area.
accents and the fact that they didn't need directions to the timber yard suggest that they are a local team.
Right. And what about the guy who came in to babysit, as he called it, Jackie and the kids? He appeared, at any rate, to find himself in a situation he wasn't expecting and didn't particularly like being there.
Absolutely right. I think he found himself somewhat out of depth when he turned up there. He was given a gun, walked upstairs and realised there was children there. He himself said that he had 3 children himself and that he was very concerned, kept apologising for what he was doing. So
this is the night for him to call in, isn't it? Because otherwise, I mean, it's quite possible if the others call, he's going to go down with them.
Absolutely right. And his identification is compounded by the very distinct tattoo he had on the inside of his right arm, which was Oriental figures, which he himself explained meant behave in English. So we think he's quite distinctive, and we hope we'll get a call, and I'm asking him to call us today prior to anyone else calling
so
in.
call in before someone shops him.
Absolutely, yeah.
What about the other two? There was a black guy who wasn't wearing a balaclava, and you think he might come from North London?
We think he's North London with East London connections. He's about 6 foot, 6'1", quite light-skinned, and an athletic build.
But the other 3, all local, you think, to East London, Essex area?
We think they're local. They were wearing balaclavas. We think one of them had black hair, or dark hair certainly, and one possibly ginger hair with quite distinct, light-coloured eyelashes.
What about the handguns they were using with silencers? Because that's pretty unusual, isn't it?
Even in the world of organised crime, using a semi-automatic handgun with a silencer fitted to it is quite unusual these days. And having 2 at one location is quite unusual. So I think there will be people within the criminal community that know who has access to that type of weaponry. And I'd urge them to search their conscience tonight, bearing in mind children were threatened, to ring the show and give us some help.
Well, certainly they may not have known that one was going to be put to the head of a 12-year-old child. I mean, that night was so traumatic. Jimmy and Jackie have never actually spoken about this together. So come on, for them and for their kids. Call 0500 600 600. Now, Rav knows who's in the frame. He's got their pictures.
Right, take a good look at this lot. Our first 3 are wanted for the murder of Sukhwinder Singh Bajwa. In January last year, he was found strangled at a car park near Epsom Racecourse. Number 1 is Amrinder Singh. He also calls himself Monu. Then, number 2 is Rajinder Singh, who sometimes goes by Jinder or Jimmy. Amardeep Singh is our number 3, and he's also known as Marley or Navtej Singh Marley. Know any of them? Or could a £10,000 reward jog your memory? Moving on, at number 4 is Noel Kelly. Now, he's wanted on 17 counts of rape, indecency with children and indecent assault against 2 young girls. He was arrested, but skipped bail and is now on the run. He's quite short, only about 5'4", and has connections to Kent and the Irish Republic. So come on, get on the blower. 0500 600 600 or text us on 83199. Just type CW and then your message.
Coming up, jailed for 14 years but still on the loose. The hunt for a convicted sex trafficker.
You've caused me a lot of problems. Big money problems. You're gonna have to earn back every penny that I spent on you.
And the terrifying ordeal of the lorry driver kidnapped by hijackers.
We get some distressing and some odd crimes on Crimewatch, but our next case is one of the strangest we have ever come across. After working pretty hard all his life, Leslie Ince settled into retirement in Walsall, where he's well known as a good neighbour and kindly friend. Somebody, though, wanted him dead. This is Leslie Ince. He's 80, and for 3 days he was left for dead in this cupboard. He'd been stabbed in the neck with a barbecue skewer.
His whole life has been one of challenge, from being a Barnardo's boy and going to Watts Naval College, and the death of my mum, and now this.
Before this horrific incident, my father was a very helpful, community-minded, independent individual.
Our mum died about 4.5, 5 years ago. And my dad never cooked a meal in his life, you see, so the first thing he did was join a cookery class.
This case is a real mystery. I don't know who did it, why they did it, or for that matter, even how they did it. At the moment, things simply don't add up. A week before Leslie was stabbed, a green hatchback car was seen parked on his driveway, here in St Ives Road, Walsall. Who owns it? On the Saturday before the attack, CCTV shows Leslie out shopping in Walsall town centre. On the Sunday, he was seen washing his car. This is the last sighting of Leslie before the attack. 3 days later, his son went looking for him.
It didn't look right. The curtains weren't as my father would normally leave them. And that, I think, coupled with the fact that I hadn't spoken to him for 3 days, made me extremely worried that there was something wrong.
Dad, you there, Dad?
And I thought, well, perhaps I should go and get the police.
Excuse me, officer, what if you can help me? I'm concerned about my father. He's not answering the door, and I think something might have happened.
I mean, he's always in. It's not a problem. I've rung the bell, I've phoned, and I think we should break the door down.
If you're happy to, that's fine, yeah.
Dad? Dad, are you in here?
Oh, Dad! Dad! The door to the cupboard was open, and I could see my father's feet as he was lying on his back in the understairs cupboard. There was a very, very strong smell of urine, and Dad had obviously been there for an awfully long time.
Hello? Can you hear me? Does anyone know his name? Does anyone know his name? Les. Les? Okay, Les.
I was suspicious. Whilst I was in shock, I couldn't understand how he could have got there on his own.
Embedded in him was this skewer. It had gone in through his shoulder for 14 inches inside his body. I've spoken to the surgeon who told me it's an absolute miracle it managed to avoid the major organs and arteries.
I think he's been stabbed.
Peter, your dad's got something in it.
I heard the police officer say that there was an object sticking out of his neck, and I said, pardon? And he said, didn't you see it? And I said, no. And he said, there's a skewer or a corkscrew or something sticking out of your father's neck. And I said, no, I didn't see it.
What does seem likely is that Leslie knew who attacked him, because there were no signs of forced entry, and we know that Leslie was very reluctant to allow strangers into his home.
If my father knew them, there may be a slim possibility that I might know them, and I can't quite face the thought of feeling that disappointment, that shock and that horror.
This attack is baffling. Leslie was stabbed in the neck, which suggests he was either sitting down or kneeling, and the attacker was standing above him. Because we found blood traces in this area, I'm satisfied that this is where the attack would have taken place. But if that is the case, why then was his body taken from the lounge and placed inside this cupboard with his head at the bottom of the cupboard? Just getting a body into that position would have been incredibly tricky.
I would imagine that whoever did this would have left my father for dead. But he obviously wasn't dead, so perhaps they were trying to hide the body. Perhaps they thought if they put my father out of sight, that he wouldn't be seen.
I don't think this is a burglary gone wrong, because there's no suggestion of any property going missing. We've even found several £1,000s in Leslie's pillowcase, and I think that means whoever's done this hasn't even gone upstairs. I don't think this was a premeditated attack on Leslie, because he was stabbed with his own barbecue skewer, which he kept in the cupboard. If somebody had planned on attacking him, I think they'd have come with their own weapon.
The official hospital line, of course, is that he's critical but stable, and has been for 4 weeks.
The medical staff have set up a communication with him, a non-verbal communication. But when the medical staff ask him about this incident, he actually refuses to talk. You can see he closes his eyes and he turns his head. He will not talk about it at the moment.
My father would want to see justice done, but he's so damaged. He has been so badly hurt by this. I think it's frightened the life out of him.
At 80 years of age, he may not survive this ordeal. If the worst happens, this will become a murder investigation.
How can the people responsible even look at themselves in the mirror every morning when they brush their teeth? It's unconscionable.
They have to be off the streets. They can't be allowed to walk around free and be able to do this to an 80-year-old man.
But who did this to an 80-year-old man, and why Leslie? He was such a nice guy. Everybody liked him. And look what they did to him, with incredible force. Just to give you an impression of what was needed to inflict those injuries, somebody, probably behind Leslie, plunged something very much like this, a barbecue skewer, right through him, right up to its hilt. It went right through the right lung, the left lung rather, pierced the right lung a bit. It missed the heart by about that much. It's incredible that he managed to survive for 3 days as he did. Now, who would have come up and done that to him? What venom was in their head? One of the things we've got to do is we've just got to make sure that we've looked at every possible clue, and that means we've got to eliminate anybody who could have been in the area. Now, for example, we know that 2 lads, one black, one white, they were wearing baseball caps, they were at Leslie's door the week before the attack. They had nothing to do with his murder, we're pretty sure of that. We just need to trace them. Another witness, as we saw in the reconstruction, a small green hatchback car was seen parked on Leslie's drive. Whose was it? We just need to find out, that's all. On the Monday morning, and we think this may well have happened on the Monday morning, someone was going around Leslie's street, they were delivering clothing collection leaflets. Again, they weren't involved with this. We just need to speak to whoever that was. Sunday the 18th up to Wednesday the 21st of the period, sometime in that it happened, he was in that cupboard. Anybody seen going into Leslie's house is really, really important to us. Please give us a call. Now, it's not a murder inquiry yet, but he is critically ill. Crime Stoppers, they're offering a £5,000 reward, and you know the number, 0500 600 600. And
So many crimes we cover are very upsetting. If you've been the victim of a crime and this has brought it all back to you, we could always call Victim Support Line for some help. They're on 0845 30 30 900. Now, here's Rav and Detective Sergeant Jane Corrigan with some news on last month's programme.
Yep, we reconstructed how Jane Gauntlet was attacked by a gang of robbers on mopeds. She was left in a coma and it was touch and go whether she'd pull through at all.
I don't think they thought she'd make it through the first operation, and a week in, they told us that they didn't think she'd make it through the evening. And I had to watch, because people came in to say goodbye to me.
Well, some brilliant news. Like Richard Hammond, Jane's made a miraculous recovery. She's now out of hospital, and doctors say there's no lasting damage, and police have new lines of inquiry which they're following up.
And we also feature the murder of Paul Kelly, who was stabbed to death outside a pub in Bath on New Year's Eve. We knew there were loads of witnesses who hadn't come forward, and we hoped that our reconstruction would prick their conscience.
Well, it worked. Last week, a mystery author pinned up this poem at the murder scene, naming a man as the killer. Now, I will show how a few words can be made, as sharp and deadly as any boy's blade. How running away will not you save. The truth is there like an open grave. Paul Kelly lies dead, and who held the knife? It was you, we all saw, take his life.
If you're the poet or you're one of the witnesses, please come forward. Police are desperate to speak to you. They can offer you protection to safeguard your identity. The incident room number there is 01225 842 443.
And 2 arrests to report. One of last month's wanted faces was Lee David Jackson, and he was wanted for GBH against his former partner. A week after the show, he was tracked down to Preston and he's now in custody awaiting trial.
And we showed you this man wanted for stalking women on the tube and then slitting their skirts. After the programme, he handed himself in and has now been charged with 3 counts of sexual assault and criminal damage.
Now, maybe 200 years since the slave trade was abolished in Britain, but now it's flourishing once more, though in a different form. Today's slaves are from all over the world. Many have one thing in common. They're women sold for sex.
A police raid in Birmingham. But these women aren't criminals. They've been trafficked into Britain and forced to work as prostitutes.
That's the reality of the modern-day slave trade, and it's happening right here in Britain today.
Blogai. Verkti norėjus. Gal ką aš ten būčiau verkus. Nieko, naktį išsiverkiu.
Monica is from Lithuania, where the average weekly wage is just £70. Her journey to Britain started with promises of a better life abroad.
Susiradau draugę per internetą. Ten buvo pats pirmas pasiūlymas išvažiuoti į Angliją, ten geriau užsidirbsi.
But the bar work she was promised never materialized. Instead, she was forced to work in a brothel, serving a dozen clients a day.
Aš neturėjau kur bėgti. Aš tenai nieko nepažinojau, nieko nepažįstu, nei kur aš ten būčiau nubėgus.
Monica was rescued during a police raid. Her captor, Laurenka Goduni, was found guilty of sex trafficking. 22-year-old Simona Kazakaite was also sentenced for her part in the operation.
Many of the women we work with, before they're ever put into a brothel, when they first arrive in the UK, will be beaten to groom them, will be raped to groom them, and will be at such a pitch of fear that they wouldn't dare to try to escape.
Hello, the Poppy Project.
The Poppy Project is a London-based scheme providing secret safe houses to trafficked women.
Probably about 60% of the women we work with at the moment come from Eastern Europe. The rest come from Southeast Asia and from West Africa. Wherever there is poverty and deprivation, there is always someone there willing to take advantage of it.
How old are you, honey?
19.
The bottom line is that this is about profit. Criminals are in this to make money. They'll sell people like any other commodity, drugs or guns.
As women are used more as they're sold, and they may be sold multiple times. Their price will go down to reflect the fact that they're seen as used goods.
The problem's now so widespread, specialist police units are now targeting the criminals.
We're sending a very clear message. This is unacceptable. If you're involved in human trafficking and you get caught, you're going to go to prison for a very long time.
We've set up a dedicated helpline to call if you're a victim, if you're worried about a victim, or you suspect someone of sex trafficking. If you're a punter with information, don't worry, you can speak to the police in confidence. They're only interested in saving women, finding these monsters. The number's 0800 092 2006, and the line's roam till 11 o'clock. Now tonight, there's one trafficker in particular we're after. Vladimir Ismaili, there he is. Known as Laddie, was found guilty last year of a string of offences, including sex trafficking, blackmail, causing prostitution, false imprisonment. He was sentenced to 14 years in jail. But astonishingly, he'd been given bail. Went on the run, and he hasn't been seen since. This is what he's done, and what police think he'll do again, unless he's caught.
In England, you do what you want whenever you want. Oh, get to work.
I can touch
You can earn a lot of money.
I don't believe that those girls will ever get over what happened to them that summer.
I'll come with you. It will be so much fun. There is absolutely nothing to worry about.
Kurie pasiūlė išvažiuoti į Angliją. Prižadėjo darbą, bet gerą. As long as you look after me.
Of course we will, of course.
Absolutely.
Patikėjau tą pasaką, taip atsiradau Anglijai.
Can you see them? Where are they? Look, how are you? You well? Good.
With Roma was another girl called Veva. She was here, having been lured by the gang, also on the pretext of having a better life here.
Hey, what's the matter?
Ishmael, these are the girls.
What's going on?
Okay, listen, girls. We paid money for you.
I don't like this.
You belong to us now.
What do you mean we belong to you?
You make trouble for us, we make even bigger trouble for you. Okay? We know people in Lithuania. Okay? Who'll do anything for me?
The two girls were brought up by Ismaili and his gang to a hotel in Coventry. Veva was then sold by Ismaili to a gang from Manchester for the purposes of prostitution. He then sold Roma to a man by the name of Albert Rama.
Here's the money. It's all there. He's paid a lot of money for you, you understand? A lot of money. So you're going to go with him today.
Please, I don't want to go. Please, please. Please, no.
You have to.
Please, no, please, I can't. Don't make me. Please.
Kitoj šaly, kur nemoki nei kalbos, nieko nesupranti, atsidurt. Baisu iš tikrųjų.
Ismaili sold Roma for £4,000 to Albert Rama. In the sex trade, that is a lot of money. But she's 18, she's innocent, and that's worth a lot to him.
Come in. Come in. Okay. Sit down. You know why you're here? You're my girlfriend now. I hope that you're gonna come to like me. Look at me. Look at me. Are we friends? Friends? You don't try to run away. If you run away, I'll find you. Okay? Okay, we're friends.
Veva was 200 miles away in Manchester, also at the mercy of her captors.
Okay, I got your passport, okay? Keep it safe for you. Look sexy for me. You put you on internet, eh? Say you're Czechoslovakian.
It's okay, it's okay. Shh. Come here.
Baimė buvo pas mane didelė, bet tai tuo metu aš buvau šoke. Paprasčiausiai nesigaudai, kas vyksta ir kaip. Ir kai žinai dar, kad absoliučiai.
Roma was repeatedly raped by Albert Rama and held captive for 6 days. She managed to get hold of a mobile phone and contact her family.
Who have you been talking to?
No one!
You have been talking to Lithuania. Why? I have to sell you back to Ismaili.
On the same day that Roma was sold back to Ismaili, the police in Manchester received a tip-off from punters that Veva was being held against her will within a brothel.
Hey, please! It's okay. Was there anyone else here? Not now. Where have they gone?
I don't know outside. I don't know.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
You've caused me a lot of problems. Big money problems. Because of you, I could be killed, you stupid whore!
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're gonna have to start work. You're gonna have to earn back every penny that I spent on you.
Vėl, kad reikia atidirbt, kad negrįšiu namo. Siaubinga.
Listen, I don't know where I am. I need you to call the police.
Roma was able to communicate through the Lithuanian police to us in Warwickshire. Then the hunt began to try and find out where she was so we could release her safely.
Yeah, no, they're all in patrol. Yeah, I'm rude.
Okay, we've got a police car looking for you now. What can you see?
All I can see is tracks.
What else can you see?
Yes, there's a pub. What is it? It's called the Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I've got it.
There's a member coming through a blue door.
I've got the blue door. I've got the blue door.
We've got you.
I can't get out. I can't get out. There's a man here.
I'm out the way. I'm out the way. There's no sign of a female.
We have to get you out, okay?
But if he sees me, if he catches me...
Just see what you can do.
Catch you? Would you go to the shops for me?
Later that day, Ismaili was arrested. 2 days later, Roma picked him out in an identification parade. In the lead-up to the trial, Ismaili was given bail. He skipped that bail, and in his absence at court, he got 14 years. I think that clearly demonstrates what a dangerous man Ismaili is. I want to see him back inside as soon as I can to make sure he doesn't exploit other females.
Padėkit surasti galų gale. Tegul sėda ir jisai, kad nekentėtų kitos.
Well, some good news. Albert Rama, the man who bought Roma, has been jailed for 11 years for rape, sex trafficking and causing prostitution. Can you believe it? He's just 23 years old. 5 Albanian men and a Lithuanian woman were also sentenced to a total of 52 years in prison on sex trafficking and prostitution charges. Now, Vladimir Ismaili, he's the one we're after. He's on the run. He's also known as Laddie. Look, it's a great picture. It was taken from his police ID parade. You won't get a better picture than that. He's Albanian. He's aged 32. He's got an Eastern European accent, 5'7", slim to medium build and brown eyes. And police think it's quite likely he's still in this country. He's got connections in Coventry, Nuneaton and London. He could be in the company of prostitutes or frequenting brothels. He could also be living in areas popular with ethnic Albanians. I'm sure I don't need to tell you, Ismaili is extremely dangerous. Don't approach him. Please call us if you know where he is, or if you have any information, call us on the usual number, 0500 600 600. And that helpline number again, if you're a victim or you suspect someone of sex trafficking, that's 0800 092 2006. Okay, Rav, give us the lowdown on your most wanted.
Right, here they are. My number 5 is Michael Hall. He's wanted for harassment against his ex-partner. He's 5'9" and has armfuls of tattoos, including a flower, a dove, a shark and swallows. He's got connections in Westcliff-on-Sea in Essex, where he could be working as a courier driver. Ryan Smith is our number 6. He's wanted for kidnapping a man and holding him to ransom in London. Smith is 22 and has connections to Hackney. There's a £15,000 reward on him. And number 7 here is Dana Hussein Mohammed, wanted for rape in Sunderland. He's 20 years old and originally from Iraq. He also uses the name Karzan Armin Ali and has links to South Shields, Gateshead and Newcastle. And lastly, we desperately need to find Jim Ingram, our number 8. Now, he's wanted in connection with the murder of his estranged wife, Diane, on the 13th of March. She was stabbed in her own home. Ingram walks with a distinctive stoop and was last seen on a bus in Cannock, Staffordshire, on the afternoon of the murder. So if you've seen Jim, or any of them, please get dialing 0500 600 600.
This is Chris. He's a truck driver. He's been a lorry driver for years. So when he set off from Felixstowe to Cardiff about 3 weeks ago, as far as he was concerned, it was just another job. At least, that's what he thought.
What we're looking at here is the theft of a lot of TVs from the back of a lorry. What's unusual about this is that not only were the TVs stolen, the lorry was taken and the driver was still in it.
You can be my flip-flop, flip-flop, don't you stop singing that around the road.
First guy came in, like, and he must have been the muscle or something. I don't know. But he came in and I just went for him. But he was a bit too strong for me, to be honest. He just pushed me back in like I wasn't even there. He said, "How do you drive this wagon?" You know, sort of thing. So I had to sort of tell him to find the old automatic and then keep going. I just didn't know what to think. I was just scared. Totally scared all the time. I just broke down completely. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. So, you know, and I just remember thinking while I was laying on the bunk, I was just, you know, when am I going to see my wife and kids again, really? You know?
Listen, mate, it's not you we want, all right? It's the stuff in the back of the truck. Can you hear me, mate, all right? Happy days.
The TVs that have been stolen are specialist televisions made for the caravan and motorhome industry. So these hijackers have got £300,000 worth of TVs that they're going to really find hard to shift.
Get that sail off.
He kept on talking to me, saying, "Oh, listen, this is the score. We're going to take you somewhere. It's going to be right out of the way."
Right, get your stuff. Come on, mate, get your stuff. Right, here. You got it? We don't want you yet. We only want the load. Come on. Come on, son, what's wrong with you? Down, mate. Go there. Go. Get up there. Get down. Right, you stay
They put
there.
my quilt over the top of me to keep me covered up.
Get up there.
I thought this was it.
You don't dare move until you hear that whistle. I left your phone, all right? And don't move.
Went to grab the phone. Sorry. Just stop. I think about it, but I got to put it out of my mind, you know, 'cause for my children's sake, really. I just don't feel right about things at the moment. I've seen the doctor. I know these guys were saying that I was safe all the time, we're not going to hurt you, not going to hurt you, but I just couldn't. I couldn't believe what they were saying.
It's extremely important that we catch those responsible. They're an organised and violent gang, and it's important that we catch them before they carry out this act again.
Well, they have carried out again, as we'll tell you about in a moment, but they, you know, they've wrecked Chris's life. You saw these boxes. Jane, you've been looking into this for us. Tell us about these sets, because, as we heard, they are very distinctive.
Nick, they're new to the country. If you've got a W152, without a doubt, it's been stolen. We've got the serial numbers of over 700 of these TVs that were nicked.
The TVs themselves are very, very distinctive, aren't they? Because, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's got DVD in it, it's got all sorts of things like USB ports, a card reader.
And they're all made by Avetex, and Avetex are actually offering a £5,000 reward for the recovery.
So if you've got one of these, it's got a Freeview receiver in it as well, well, unless you bought it from a specific dealer, a proper dealer in caravan kit, it's been nicked, basically, and in a very, very unpleasant way. Chances are, because there are only 100 legit ones in the country, if you're watching on this, it has been stolen. Tell us about the attackers, Jane.
Well, they're all white, northern accents, believed to be Liverpool. Two are quite young, 19 to 20. One was wearing a Juventus tracksuit bottoms with a badge at the bottom. The other was wearing distinctive burgundy gloves. He was the driver.
There's plainly a Merseyside connection, isn't there? Because that's where the truck finished up.
That's right, yeah.
So we've got some pretty good descriptions of where... Actually, where was it? Was it Charnock Road in Walton, one of them?
We're appealing for the drivers of 3 other lorries that were parked up on the A14 at Huntington around the time that Chris was actually taken away.
Yeah, OK. And as I said, there was another very similar attack since then on the A14, or just off the A14, a lay-by. Pretty much the same gang, looks
Again,
like.
it was the same sort of thing. Unfortunately, the victim was actually taken out of his lorry and was put in the boot of a car. He was driven along the M6 to Preston, and his cab was found burnt out at Stoke-on-Trent.
As I say, one of the other ones from the early one was found out at Whiston, I think.
Yes,
part of it at Whiston and part of it in Walton. And in the second lorry to be robbed, what was in the back of that one?
It was Black & Decker drills, over £100,000 worth of these drills that have lights on them.
Drills with lights on them. OK, if you're watching this on one of these Nick Tellys, please have a think about Chris and what they did to him. Call us here in the studio, 0500 600 600.
Now, some good news on convictions. Back in 2003, we wanted to find Sarah Jane Delaney, who'd been charged with the murder of her boyfriend, William Shaw, but then went on the run. We had 24 calls. One of them led police to trace Delaney. She's now serving 12 years for murder.
2 years ago, we featured Brian Tate, who was wanted for supplying Class A drugs. A viewer called in to say that he was in Spain, and sure enough, police tracked him down there. He's now been given 8 years in jail.
In September 2000, we appealed for your help in catching a man who violently attacked and sexually assaulted a young woman in Dulwich in South London. And last year, police got a DNA match after a man was arrested for theft. That man was 31-year-old Nicholas Pearson from Kent. He pleaded guilty. He's been jailed for 7 years. Now, Rav got some cowards caught on camera.
Nicholas Pearson. Do you know I was there when he was arrested? I dragged him out of his bed. Anyway, it's amazing what some idiots will do to impress their mates. First stop, Kent. The Dartford to Bexley line last August, and this bunch of thugs are looking for trouble. Enough time to check out the cameras. Nice and close. Thanks, mate. We're not going to forget your face in a hurry. The gang eye up 4 students and close in for the attack. They try to get away, but are overwhelmed. They're punched, kicked, and have their mobiles nicked. The lads try to escape, but are dragged back for more. We think 2 of them are called Stephen and Teddy. You tell us. 3 teenagers at Portslade Station in Sussex last November. They think it's a laugh to jump onto the train tracks. Some girls on the other side shout that it's dangerous, but what thanks do they get? Abuse. This guy runs across and pushes one of the girls onto the tracks. She lands scarily close to the live line and 750 volts of electricity. Enough to kill. Her friends manage to get her up off the line before a train comes. Who is this joker? Southampton last summer, another gang on the rampage. England have just been knocked out of the World Cup by Portugal, and these hooligans want someone to take it out on. They pick on this man, also an England fan, but what do they care? 5 against 1, they surround him and attack. One lands a kick to his head, knocking him unconscious. He then spits on his victim as he lies on the ground. Take a look again. What kind of coward does that? Complete mindless violence. Names, please. This man gets on a bus in Richmond as if nothing's happened. But police believe he's just tried to rape a girl. We see him texting. He's thanking his victim for a nice evening before getting off the bus in Twickenham. Well, let's make this a night he never forgets. If you recognise his face, please call in. So if you've got their number, call ours, 0500 600 600, or you can text us on 83199. Remember, just type CW and then your message. And if you'd like to see any of the CCTV again, you'll find it on our website, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch.
Here I am, surrounded by chocolate. It's like a dream come true, except I haven't been allowed to have a single bit. Anyway, it's Easter this week, and we've got some very hungry Easter bunnies out there. Nearly 12,000 eggs like these, 12,000, were stolen by 3 masked men in Stafford a couple of weeks ago, who made off in a grey Subaru Impreza. Maybe the robbers were on a sugar low, maybe they were just low. But if someone tries to bulk sell you eggs like these, they didn't just fall off the back of a lorry. The gang actually held up the driver. It happened at a lay-by on the A38 near Lichfield, when the thieves told the driver he was shedding his load. The lorry's been found, but the eggs haven't. So we're on an Easter egg hunt. Bit of a bitter aftertaste. If you know who the chocoholics are, give us a nibble at their names. 0500 600 600. Rav, what have you got for us?
Right, just quickly, they're shouting at me to be quick, but I'm going to tell you the East London kidnap and robbery. We've had a very good name put forward and someone's able to give a good description of that offender. And we've also had another call from a police officer regarding some property found nearby. Line's still open, you can help, give us a call.
Well, details on tonight's other cases and a chance to have another look at those wanted faces are on our website, bbc.co.uk/Crimewatch. Sure you know it by now. And our phone lines are open until midnight tonight and from 7:30 until midnight tomorrow.
Stay watching. We're back after the news, just over half an hour. That's Crimewatch Update. Join us then at 10:35, actually 11:15, if you're watching in Northern Ireland.
And Crimewatch is back on a Tuesday next month, 1st of May.
Yeah, whatever happens, though, don't have nightmares. Do please sleep well. For now, good night.
Good night.
He was the man who effectively founded the BBC. On BBC4 now, Greg Dyke explores the life and legacy of Lord Reith.